Okay, now let's get the latest news headlines with Sky News political reporter Cam Reddin. And Cam, I used to listen to you at your old job on 2GB and I thought you are a superstar, so I'm so excited to now have you on my show. No pressure.
Well, I'm now a supporting act to Russell Crowe officially on this program, and so I'll add that to my IMDb page a bit later.
Well, look, normally I like to be the biggest star of my own show, but he has well and truly usurped me. Now, talk to me about Anthony Albanese, who was at the Easter show today.
Yeah, he was out and about shaking hands, and look, he's on a bit of a victory tour in a way, Erin. He's had an incredible month of getting legislation through. I know that's a little bit of the boring day-to-day of politics, but getting legislation through, a difficult Senate, striking deals on that front. He was out and about shaking hands today, announcing a $6 million contribution to the Good Friday appeal. This is a bit of a tradition for Prime Ministers to attend the Easter show in Sydney out at Olympic Park and to throw a couple of $1 million into the appeal as well.
What were the crowds like with him? Because as you said, I mean, he's on a victory tour. He is in a honeymoon period like no other. But generally, there's a heckler or two. Tell me someone heckled him today.
Well, I didn't see how he behaved with the goats or how the goats behaved around him, but they seem to be all pretty well behaved, as were the people out there as well. And look, this is going to be a feature of the next 6 to 9 months as well, as we enter a pseudo-campaign mode around the Voice to Parliament. We're going to see a lot more of the Prime Minister hopping on jets around the place, around the country to engage with everyday people. That's what a referendum's all about. And today, lots of shaking hands. I think there was a couple of happy engagement with some puppies there as well. So, look, it's all smiles, handshakes and hugs at this stage.
Kids and animals, tick and tick. We'll talk a little bit about Liberal Party, in fact, a fair bit on the show tonight. It's a big talking point right now. I'm fascinated by Scott Morrison, the former Prime Minister, and whether he could actually lose the seat of Cook when he resigns, which he's expected to do this year at some stage. What do you think?
Well, our political editor colleague Andrew Clennell's been reporting that Scott Morrison is likely to pull the pin this year once he's got a formal job, the next job, life after politics lined up. In terms of the numbers, I suppose it would take something quite seismic for the former Prime Minister to lose his seat. He holds the seat of Cook in Sydney South, about a 12% margin. And if you look at what happened in Aston at the weekend just gone, that was a 6.5% swing against the Liberal Party towards Labor. So, look, you take essentially double the Aston effect, if you like, in order to remove Scott Morrison. But, look,
Mind you, the way they're going.
Well, that's it. Stranger things have happened. And if you look across the country, the Liberal Party in particular, if you just divorce them from the coalition for a sec, has an issue in the cities. Those red rings around the capital cities, particularly in Melbourne, in Brisbane, we've seen a green element there as well. Less so in Sydney, but in Perth, in Western Australia, Ian Goodenough is surrounded by a wall of red in Western Australia. So this is the challenge for the Liberal Party, to connect with those capital city voters and to remain competitive in those areas too.
It is a big challenge for them. So is delivering a budget, which Labor will do next month. What do we know so far? Cost of living, huge issue, but no one seems to be blaming Labor for it.
Yeah, the big challenge for Jim Chalmers and for Katie Gallagher, the Treasurer, the Finance Minister, is essentially to find these streams of revenue to fund the spending that they want to do. The Treasurer has spoken for many months now about the 5 big cost pressures on the budget of defence, which is only getting larger through the AUKUS expenditure, through healthcare, aged care, the NDIS costing more and more every year, and also just with rising interest rates, the interest rate that we have to pay on debt. So there are all of these compounding pressures on the budget, and the challenge is finding structural ways to increase the revenue that the government is bringing in. Does that mean more taxes? Potentially, that's one avenue, although the government is reluctant to repeal some of those taxes that are already, or those tax changes that are already in the system. We think of stage 3, for example. So they
clearly won't have an issue going back on things that were said pre-forming government.
Well, that's the thing. These are many of the questions they're going to have to answer. We've seen the United States and even in Canada in the last week look at increasing the amount of tax revenue they're looking to get out of the big banks as ways to try and claw some more revenue in. So, look, these are the challenges that the Treasurer is going to have to face. And at the moment in Australia, we've not been completely shielded from many of those global fallout implications from, for example, when we saw the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank in the US. But we're not completely immune to these issues either. And as cost of living, as you mentioned, Erin, continues to bite people, we've seen interest rates put on hold. Well, not on hold, pause is the word used by the Reserve Bank Governor. And we could see even more on that front by the end of the year.
Cam Reddin, brilliant. Thank you so much. I know you're on Easter holidays at the moment, so we very much appreciate you coming in. Don't put in a timesheet.
Never. Happy Easter. Thanks, Erin.
Thank you so much.